So, you're probably wondering, what the just happened? Well, let's get into it. So today, we were at City Hall in support of an ordinance that would lower Chicago's speed limit from 30 miles per hour down to 25 miles per hour. While it might seem insignificant, this 5 mile per hour difference really makes a difference in safety and dramatically increases the likelihood of someone surviving a crash if they're hit, particularly for pedestrians and cyclists. We also have evidence that simply saying the speed limit is lower now has a really big impact on driver behavior, and we even have evidence of that here in Chicago. When CDOT lowered the speed limit on Broadway between Foster and Devon, they recorded an 11% decrease in average speed, and they found a 28% reduction in drivers going over 30 miles per hour, all without any additional enforcement and no infrastructure changes. Now, lowering the speed limit alone is not going to, in itself, make our streets safe, but it is a really important tool to have in our toolbox, and it even unlocks the potential of types of infrastructure that can be installed on our streets. Unfortunately, this did not pass today. We lost 28-21, and there are a lot of reasons for this. There's really a lot of misinformation out there about what lowering the speed limit does, whether or not it's effective, and it's really clear that there are still a lot of older people who need education on why we need to lower the speed limit and why it's important. We also heard today a lot of continued concerns around enforcement and whether or not it's going to be equitable, piling up constituents with tickets. There really isn't evidence that lowering the speed limit has that kind of an impact, but it's clear that that's still a concern that needs to be resolved for some. It's also true that there are some out there who are just seeking political retribution or just outright don't support the premise altogether. And so it was a really combination of all of these things that meant that this didn't pass today. So this is really disappointing. But not all hope is lost. The good news is there are a lot of people who are really interested in lowering the speed limit, but just have some trepidation about it still, and there is opportunity to gain their support. Just last month, City Council did pass a working group that will study fines and fees reform. And I think a lot of answers that are going to come out of that working group are going to alleviate some people's concerns, so long as City Council actually implements some of the recommended changes. The other really big thing is that Governor J.B. Pritzker recently appointed Gia Biaggi, the former CDOT commissioner, as the new Illinois Department of Transportation Secretary. We know that Gia Biaggi believes in lowering the speed limit in Chicago. And some of the concerns we heard today are about whether or not the state is on board to help lower the speed limit on IDOT roads in the city. So there's a real opportunity for city, state, and hopefully county partnership to form a comprehensive plan that hopefully everyone can get behind. So, while today was very frustrating for a million different reasons, hope is not lost. And I think a lesson as well that we as advocates and as a community can take away is that there's still just a lot of work left to be done to educate, to build trust, and ultimately to build power so that we can get the progressive wins that we know we deserve.